Good afternoon, everybody. Christine Marconi here in the NBC4i Streaming Center, joined by NBC4's Colleen Marshall and Fox 8's Joe Toohey. And as you can tell by the description of this video, we are previewing tonight's debate that will be aired on Nexstar stations across the state tonight. The GOP candidates who are vying to be our next senator to be on the November ballot. Colleen, I know you've been up there with Joe all weekend, really just practicing for this debate and preparing. How are things going?
I think it's going pretty well. We're about where we want to be at this point. You know, our problem is there are 5 candidates, there's 1 hour. Yeah. And so what we've been trying to do is hone through the issues, taking a look, of course, at our Nexstar poll to see what voters are worried about. And we want to try to keep the candidates on task. And Joe, as you and I both know, that's going to be our challenge, right?
Yeah, breaking news. Politicians do like to talk and take up time. So we have a lot of issues. We have a lot of candidates, and making sure everyone gets the right amount of time, a fair amount, to explain where they stand, but also trying to keep things moving is what we're really working on in these final hours, trying to make sure we can get everything in.
It will be like herding cats, Christine.
Well, especially after what we saw on Friday, guys. I mean, the whole state's not only talking about this. This made national news. A little tussle getting in the faces. Let you guys explain, because I know you guys have probably taken a look at this a little bit more as the moderators, knowing that what you might be going up against tonight.
Well, and the important thing, I think, of that piece of video is these are the 2 front runners. Mm-hmm. The 2 who are in our poll and in some other recent polls, the 2 that voters are leaning towards. So what we wonder is, did that change the narrative for voters? It was what some were saying, an embarrassing exchange for both Mike Gibbons and Josh Mandel in each other's faces, kind of being in a threatening manner. You know, that happened while I was already up here in Cleveland, and it's the first thing Joe and I talked about the next morning. Did you see that?
Right. I mean, it's almost something you expect to see at a UFC weigh-in gone wrong, not a United States Senate debate. I think the important thing to think about, and we'll see how this plays out, is the difference in venues and audiences, right? That happened at a forum where they were sharing the stage together in front of a conservative audience where people were cheering and booing. It was a very much a lively atmosphere. This is a very different setup on TV, statewide, in front of potentially millions of voters, and seeing how and whether or not they address that and whether or not they want to continue that type of behavior will be interesting to see tonight, whether it comes up.
And it is important to point out this debate will be going all over the state. Mm-hmm. We're linking to, we're at Fox 8 right now in Cleveland, but we are linking into other Nexstar stations in Youngstown, in Wheeling-Steubenville, in Dayton. We are also going to be, did I say Youngstown? Oh, and we have a partner in Cincinnati that's picking up the debate as well. So this is really the first statewide televised debate for these candidates. So you have to wonder if their behavior will be tailored to the fact that people from both parties, who somebody's going to face in the general election in November, will likely be tuning into this tonight. And they are all aware of that.
Yeah, this certainly is a big opportunity. I mean, we have such a reach with all of our Nexstar stations across the entire state, the 7 o'clock time slot, people, you know, sitting down for dinner, doing, you know, what they do in their evenings. And it's going to be on in a lot of people's homes tonight. So it definitely will be interesting to see, you know, how, like you guys said, how different things are. Can you actually set the scene for us a little bit about what we can expect to see out of the Fox 8 studios? I saw a picture of some podiums that you guys have, no live audience, but can you set the scene and tell us how the format will go as well?
Right. Well, we can't show you that right now because the candidates are taking their turns going through doing their walkthroughs.
Okay.
The podium that we posted. So there are 5 of them, fairly close to each other. Joe and I will be right in front of them. We've got cameras. They've got a jib camera in the studio here, so we'll be able to see reactions each of them have to each other's comments as well. It is an hour-long format. I think the audience will get a feel for being close together because they're close together.
Right, and just general format stuff. On main questions, candidates will have about 60 seconds to answer the first question. Then we have about 30 seconds for rebuttals and follow-ups and then clarifications. and that. And so yeah, in terms of when you're debating, how do you fit everything in, trying to give them enough time to expand, because a lot of these are not 60-second answers, but trying to keep it so we can get a lot in. And you think about the point of a debate, right, is to show how these candidates are different, and we want to give these candidates an opportunity to explain themselves, to differentiate themselves for Republican voters watching, to better understand how they're going to cast their vote.
Yeah, I've been calling it politics, policy, and personality. All three of those will be on the stage tonight. And it is interesting to see how they act when we give them the same topics. And we've tried really hard to come up with some things that they might expect, some topics that really anybody in a debate in this time would expect to talk about, maybe some questions they're not expecting. And I think that lets people see how they are on their feet, how they react to maybe criticisms from other people, other venues. So it's going to be, I think, a pretty good debate. I hate to put a curse on it,
Right.
but if we can get them talking and keep it moving, I think people will learn what they need to learn. And you know what, Christine, we should point out that our poll showed 4 out of 10 Ohio voters are still undecided. 40% the voters in this race. So it really is still up for grabs.
Certainly. Colleen and Joe, what are some of the topics that you guys as moderators are going to prioritize tonight? I know you have a pulse on the state, with statewide politics all year round. What's top of your mind, and what do you want to hear?
Right. Well, look, I want to keep a little bit tight, close to the vest. You don't know, maybe some campaign staffer is watching this trying to guess and get an edge on the other candidates what we're going to talk about. But I think we can say, look, we saw in our Next Star poll that Ohioans told us inflation and high prices are very important, very top of mind right now. That's something that impacts all Ohioans. We'd be remiss if we didn't address that in some form tonight.
Yeah, and we also should point out and remind everybody, 62% of the Republican voters in that poll said they would be influenced by Donald Trump. He has not made any endorsement in this race. So there are going to be a lot of things that we talk about that I think voters need to hear.
All right. Anything else you guys want to add? I know you guys are very busy and I don't want to take up too much of your time, and I'm really looking forward to watching this with my own family tonight.
Oh yeah, pop the popcorn.
Oh yeah.
Things I would like to say. One, this is not what I'll be wearing. I didn't realize I would be doing an interview in Columbus. I dressed a little casual before the debate. And two, I think if you've watched any TV at all, you've seen these candidates in their ads have no problem going after each other. And what we saw on that debate stage Friday, it's going to be interesting to see what happens tonight.
And we are going to try to really get some substantive answers, because that's what voters want. They want to know what their policies are, what they would do if they do make it to Capitol Hill. They are replacing a veteran senator in Rob Portman. Somebody is going to have a big job at the end of this election season, whether it's a Democrat or Republican. So what we want to do is let voters see what these 5 candidates stand for. And maybe after tonight, it'll help them make up their minds.
All right, Joe and Colleen, we really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time. Joe, thanks for jumping in. I didn't expect to meet you today, but hello. Welcome to the Streaming Center. Much appreciated.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right, you too. All right, bye, Colleen. All right, guys, NBC4i.com. You can find out more information about tonight's debate. It will air live at 7 p.m. If you're watching from across the state, turn on your local Nexstar station and you can watch it there. Or if you're one of our NBC4 viewers, put on Channel 4 tonight or on NBC4i.com. And I'll have more from our preview tonight coming up on NBC4 at 4:30. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.